Hey guys, my name is Stefan, and today I'm going to start a new review of Module Monday. So if you don't know what Module Monday is, it's a thing that Adam Discrow put in place. Basically, he's picking one module every Monday that he think is worth of talking about, and he's going to go and show us how it works. Helping us to discover this module if you don't know it yet, simply showing the basic functionality of it and why you would want to use it and in which specific cases, just so we have like another bow or another like sword that we can go into our everyday coding, PowerShell coding lives. So I'm going to do a small review. I've not seen the video yet, so I propose we watch it together, and I'm simply gonna comment the video while I'm watching it together with you guys, and we're gonna go and try the stuff he's showing to see if it really works, how it works, and maybe we bump in some weird or some nice surprises. We will see. So let's get this started.
Welcome to Module Monday. Module Monday is a video series where I show off a cool PowerShell module each Monday. This Monday, we're looking at a PowerShell module called PsDepend. PsDepend is a simple PowerShell dependency handler. It's kind of based on bundle install in the Ruby world and pip install requirements in the Python world. So the idea is that we can kind of define requirements in a PSD1 file, and then PsDepend will actually go through and install those requirements, validate those requirements are installed, and that kind of thing. It's really good for setting up development environments, installing PowerShell modules, and that kind of thing. So to install PsDepend, you can just get it from the PowerShell gallery by using install module PsDepend.
Okay, so let's start with that already. Like I've not installed. So hope you can see it. I have not installed PsDepend for the moment. So find module PsDepend. So you can see it's version 03.8. I'm actually a little bit curious to see how many people have downloaded this one. So I know this module, but I've never never used it, but I used it some time back. But then I simply have like all the modules I need for my scripts. At least they are already present. I rarely need to download them, at least in my professional life. And then like for the frameworks or the modules, open source modules I've written, I generally try to avoid to push dependencies in them, so that you have something like very lightweight, so that you don't need to install like additional things before you can actually use it. So basically the concept of my open source modules is that like you install the module I've wrote, you don't need anything else more, right? It's one bubble. So let's have a look at it. PsDepend. So PsDepend has 188,917 downloads. Last update was actually done like a little bit more than 5 days ago, 7 days ago, so 6 days ago. So this is pretty good. This is actually very good, because it means that a lot of people download it. Not necessarily like a lot of people, right? So basically this could also mean that simply people have this an install module in their automation when they go and do testing, for example, and like a high number of download doesn't necessarily mean that a lot of different people have downloaded it. It can also mean that it has been called in CIs many times, right? But still, I don't doubt the quality of this module. It has been written by Warren Frame. He goes by the name of PS Rambling Cookie Monster, I think. So he's pretty well known in the PowerShell community. So I actually think we can trust this guy, because he's written like a bunch of modules. You probably even know you are using modules that he wrote. So yeah, 9 days ago, and already 1,600 downloads. So that's pretty impressive, I think. So yeah, I'm just gonna download it. So install. So first let's validate I don't have it. Get module PsDepend list available. Yeah, so I don't have it, and so yeah, I'm just gonna do find module and then install module. All scope. No, scope. I want it for all users. Natürlich. So I need admin rights. So right click, run as admin. So I need admin rights because I want to have it in the program files folder. Here it is. I'm gonna zoom. So if you have PowerShell 7, you should have also like the latest version of I forgot the module. The module that does like the history and stuff, and like the stuff in the console. Really forgot the name. We'll come back later, I guess. And you can go up even though you close the window, right? So you can come back into the history. So this is what I'm doing. Install module, scope all users. Not there are many people, using, this computer of mine. My family is not really into PowerShell. Not really into computers, by the way. But yeah. So I'm installing it. So it's very lightweight, like 0.08 megabytes. So it's really nothing. And so it's there now. So get module list available PsDepend. So yes, we have it there. What I'm also going to do is I'm just going to create like a new project actually. So I actually think I have this on D. Do I have decode? Yes. So mkdir decode module PsDepend tests. I'm just gonna call it like this. So cd. I'm going to navigate in this folder, and so now I'm just going to launch Visual Studio Code over here, and we're gonna create a file, and then we're gonna start to watch the video because that's actually what we want to do, right? So test.ps1. Voila. So here we have it. Let's go back to the video over here and let's see what Adam has for us.
Installed, and here's an example of a very basic PSD1 file, kind of a requirements file for PsDepend. By default, the hash table that you define for your requirements will use kind of a dependency type of PowerShell module, and we'll install these PowerShell modules based on the value, which is the version then for each one of the items in this hash table. So the top 4 items here are 4 different PowerShell modules. 2 of them are pinned to are set to the latest version, and then 2 of them are pinned to specific versions, so that you can kind of specify which version of that PowerShell module you'd like. Finally, this last dependency down here is actually a Git repository. So it'll actually clone that Git repository to the current folder and use the master branch in this case.
So to summarize, just very quick. So basically, he just said like it's possible to install dependencies of your module using 3 different formats. You can specify either later, so with a simple string in a hash table, or the version number. So if you want to have a specific version, and so this is a surprise for me, I didn't know that it's also possible to go and download directly from GitHub. So you can specify a Git URL, a repository, and a branch, and it will go and download it. So that's very interesting, and I didn't know that. So let's see what he's got next.
So what you can actually do is you can use PsDepend to read these PSD1 files. So if I hit F8 on here, you'll see that it read out all 5 of those dependencies. You can see that some of them specify versions, some of them are using the latest version, and each one of them is kind of denoting the dependency type that is defined via the syntax inside of this PSD1 file. And you can see here that we have 4 PS gallery module dependency types and then 1 GitHub dependency type. If you want to know what types of dependencies are supported by PsDepend, you can use get PsDepend type and select the the dependency type property. So here's a list of all the dependency types that are currently supported. We have things like Chocolatey, file downloads, whether file system.
This is very interesting. So seriously, this goes like boom right now in my head, because I really thought I only thought PsDepend allowed you to go and download modules from the PowerShell gallery or from maybe an internal NuGet repository, which is the same thing. So here we can actually see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14, 14, 14 different types, dependency types that we can use. And the ones I actually really like, I like GitHub. So GitHub is very nice. So Git, I'm curious about Git because at work I actually use GitLab. So it would be great if through that Git thing I could actually use that to go and handle downloads actually and dependencies. And there's like a lot I actually don't even know, like for npm I know, but like nope. I don't know. .NET SDK, yeah, that's pretty clear. And PowerShell gallery, PS gallery module, PS gallery NuGet. Not sure what the difference would be there. Maybe like DSC resource and a PowerShell module, or maybe like a PowerShell script and a PowerShell module. And then a task. So I'm pretty curious about what a task is. I hope Adam is going to cover it because yeah, it's we're not even like 2 minutes 33 through the video, and I'm really excited about the things I will be able to learn with this. So let's continue.
Some things exist, GitHub, packages, and then PS Gallery modules, that kind of thing. So these are extensible. They're very similar to DSC resources in that they need get, set, and test. And then you kind of define them as PowerShell scripts inside a PsDepend type folder. So they have examples of how to do that out on the gallery. I won't get into that, but I'll talk a little bit about how to use these resources.
It's too bad. Would have been great also, like he covered maybe how we can do that. But yeah, okay.
So a very basic resource kind of looks like this. So this is kind of like the most basic resource that you could create. In this case, I'm specifying 3 PowerShell modules. We have Pester, Selenium, and PsDepend, and I want them all on the latest version. The most basic thing we can do is actually just test to see if those exist. So I have the Selenium and the PsDepend module installed, but I don't have the latest Pester v5 module installed, so that one's going to return false. So we can actually go and check and see which of those modules are actually installed. If you want to get a little more...
So for now, so I understand how you can download the module, but I'm actually curious on how you would say, you could have potentially Pester on GitHub, but also on the PowerShell gallery, but also on GitHub, and maybe you have it on an internal GitLab instance, or maybe on an internal PowerShell gallery. So how would you specify that? So I hope he's going to cover that. So let's continue.
More specific with requirements, what you can actually do is you can define what type of dependency these particular items are by using the syntax that you see here. So I have a PS Gallery module, I want to install the universal module, and I have a GitHub repository where I want to install the universal templates. So
okay, so yeah, I guess you just answered my question, my kind of rhetorical question. It looks like it's some type of like static method here that is setting or calling. At least it looks like a static method on like in a class. So yeah, format is maybe a bit weird if you're not very used to classes, but yeah, let's go further.
To invoke that, all I have to do is, in this case, I can move over to this folder and call invoke PsDepend and just say all on that. And what it's going to do is it's going to download the module from the PowerShell gallery, and then it's going to clone the Git repo. And what I've done is I've actually specified some PsDepend options.
So it's cloning the Git repository, right? So that's also interesting. It's not making a copy. I was thinking it was making a copy, you know, like downloading the zip, maybe extracting it, but he said it's cloning the Git repository. That can be very interesting.
So you can kind of think of these as global options to each one of the dependencies. So this actually sets the target parameter for each one of my dependencies, and I want to store it inside the dependencies folder here. And I want to pretty much call force on each one of the dependencies.
So I'm just curious where he set the dependency folder variable. Not sure where that one is coming from.
Now that that's run, what you'll see is that I actually have the universal module in here. That was, saved via save module, and then I have a cloned version of the universal templates GitHub repository.
I'm not sure. I don't see the .git folder actually from in the universal template there. I'm not sure this is really like a Git clone.
So that's kind of like a more specific way of defining dependencies for PsDepend.
Yeah.
In addition to just kind of listing dependencies like this, what we can actually do is have them run in order. So here's an example of 3 different tasks,
Okay.
and each one of these two of them depend on the previous task to run. So I have task 1, 2, and 3. You can see I have them kind of out of order to prove that I can run them in order by using the.
Okay, so we now know what the type task is. So basically, you can actually you can point the task to a specific target. So basically to a script, and it would call that script, and you can actually define a specific order of how you would like things to start. So actually, I'm starting to realize now PsDepend is a little bit more than just dependency manager, because you can also use this actually for like orchestration. I would not push this orchestration at that level, like too deep, but I'm pretty sure this is this can be handful in some specific cases. I'm thinking about requirements that needs to be installed in a specific order. For example, I don't know, you need to install first a Windows feature before you can actually use it to install something else or something in that matter. Yeah, so that would make sense. So maybe what we can also do, I want to maybe go back a little bit, because so here we talked about the dependency. So before, oh, sorry for that. So before we go further, I have the impression that I want to test this thing with the GitHub thing. So you know what? I'm gonna do that immediately, because I'm really keen about that. So new file. So dependency.psd1, he said. So I have it here, and so basically it's a hash table. So the syntax of a hash table is like this. If you don't know what a hash table is, then this is a hash table. So I wanted to test. So it's the first time I'm doing this exercise, right? So please don't hit me too hard with the bat, right? I'm testing this as we're going. So get command dash module psdepend test. No, not psdepend. So we have these commands, and so would have been nice to be able to spit out like just a plain, like maybe like new PsDepend template or something like that, so that you can start using that and just simply fill in the blanks. That would have been nice. So I thought I was going on the internet here. I'm just going to go on the GitHub website of PsDepend, GitHub PsDepend, so I can go and copy paste an example. And I'm also going to start this. This is very cool, and yeah, I recommend like you guys start it. And if you have some money, like you don't know what to do with, which is I think rarely the case. But anyways, if you like this project, like sponsor this person right here. That it really means a lot. Like for open source developers, it's like people really invest like a lot of their time, and so this would really like help a lot. Sorry. So yeah. So we have this thing over here, and I'm just copying it over to my Visual Studio Code, which is right here. And I'm just gonna close this one. Not sure why I have it open. I mean, I do know why, because I was using it before. So I don't need all these things. I don't have Pastry on my machine because it's brand new. This was actually the example that Adam was showing before. And so what would this do? Like if he goes and PowerShell, what is here too? So what is this? Various PowerShell function and script. These are published as WF2 on the PowerShell gallery. Thanks to WF tools. That would be worn frame tools. Okay, interesting. So second, actually not even second, because up until now where I had like more surprises than actually what I was thinking of. So yeah, WF tools also exist. So interesting. So let's go ahead and download these ones like this. So to do this, I should go in my test thing, and I'm not sure about what was the command. Invoke PsDepend, I think. Invoke PsDepend, I think that was it. So yeah, let's test it. Let's test it like this, see if he understands it. F5, no, dot depend.ps1 file. Okay, so it's not that. I'm pretty sure. So it's a hash table inside of a PS1 file, not a PSD one. Okay, so my mistake. The PS1 file, and yeah, let's do it again. Of course, sorry. So dot depend PS1. Okay, let's try it again. That's not true. Dependency dot depend.ps1. This is correct, right? Dependence, so depend.ps1. Okay, let's try it one more time. Maybe I have something wrong. Yeah, it's exactly the same. Yep. No work like that. No work. No work. So let's try the path. I'm just simply going to do maybe like this is going to work. F5. Yeah, okay, seriously. It's not a PSD1 file. It was a PSD1 file before I renamed it because you said it wasn't, you couldn't find a PS1 file. So okay. Going back to the PSD1, PSD1, and yeah, let's do it. Seriously. PSD1 is not a PSD1 file. So if I do this again, oh yeah, cannot. Oh, of course, yeah, of course, man. So in case you're wondering, it's almost 10 o'clock here, so I'm pretty tired after a long day of work, handling two kids. Oh my god, hallelujah. So I got the basics working. Yeah, so you just need to write the extension correctly and then pass in the good file name. Makes sense, right? So we have the pester one and the rambling cookie monster, PowerShell gallery, I mean list of functions. So yeah, that's okay for now. But I want to be sure where he's going to download them. So let's have a look at very quickly at this. So get module pester. I don't have it. I don't have pester installed. Really? List available, of course. 3.4. So I have. So this is the inbox version that Microsoft ships. 3.4. So you should install version 5 somewhere. So if I don't specify anything, I'm curious to see where he's going to put it. So let's do it like that. So we have the dependency now, and now we do invoke dependency. Now invoke PsDepend. Okay, let's do like this. F8. Process dependency pester. So yes. I should have said yes. An A for all. Ah no. Seriously. So man. Me and my admin rights. So let's close this one. Open right click. Of course he's updating Visual Studio Code right now. So run as admin. So this is Jupyter, by the way. Beautiful gas planet. Basically, if you fall on it, you actually never fall on it. You will simply, fall through. But it will definitely not be a nice experience. You won't appreciate it. But maybe more than this video though. But I'm just joking. So I'm back. We're back. We have admin rights now. I'm launching this invoke PsDepend. Is there like a force? I don't want him to ask me anything. I'm just going to add IPMO PsDepend F8. So launched it. Then oh yeah, I wanted to see if this was a force. There's a force, so hopefully he's not gonna ask me, are you sure you want to do it? Just do it. So he's doing it. So maybe next time I add the dash verbose so we see what he's actually doing, because right now it's like he's doing something. It was like installing a computer in like the late 90s, like begin 2000. Oh no, he's doing, like, we see the progress bar, so he's actually installing it. And okay. So he installed something, installed two somethings, not sure where actually though. So can we see something with the invoke dependency now? We don't. It would have been nice to have a functionality to see what dependency do we have already present on the machine. It would have been interesting to see. So I just want to double check what he actually deployed. So let's go in C program files, and so we have pester here, the PsDepend, but like the oh no, PowerShell is here. I thought this was like a default one. So he actually copied actually the this is a copy, so this is not a git clone, right? And that's actually what I wanted to do. Remember, back in the time when I said let's have a look, this is what I wanted to look at. I wanted to see if it was really cloning, so that we have access to the git history and all of that, we can add changes, or if it was doing a simple copy of the zip and extracting the files. And so we saw this little progress bar, and I actually think that it was even written zip, so you can go back in the video and have a look at that. So just like, let's go in quickly in this, navigate to this folder. I'm not sure why it's showing down there, cd in this folder. And so git status, do we have something? See, it's not a git repository. So yeah, Adam made a small mistake there, saying that it was git cloning. So maybe git cloning is a functionality that he's going to demonstrate a little bit later. That's also possible. But this syntax here, like this, points to downloading in the default module folder this PowerShell repository, from this GitHub profile, from this branch. So interesting. Okay, so maybe let's go back to the video. I've demonstrated what I wanted to. I've tested what I wanted to test. So let's go further. I need to find the window. It's on this screen over here. I have 3 screens, so it's a bit confusing sometimes. And I went back in the video.
Module dependency types, and then 1 GitHub dependency type. If you want to know what types of dependencies are supported by PsDepend, you can use get PsDepend type and select.
So get PsDependency type, we have not looked at it, but basically it will probably not get dependency type. Is it wrong? Get PsDepend type, sorry. So get PsDepend type. Ooh, maybe let's do a select dependency type. So yeah, I think we said 14, so measure 14. This is what we said before. Very interesting. So the object also of those types look very so not complex, but very full. So this is it's a very good thing. It looks to have help content in it, maybe some like dependency script here I see. So select dependency type, this description. So we were thinking about Noop. What is Noop? Display parameters that depend script would rec. Okay, would would recognize, I guess. So let's see what he's going to. Where tag dependency type is equal to loop. Okay, maybe loop is an English word, which I don't know. Display parameters that a depend script would receive, used for testing and validation. Okay, it's probably like an internal mechanism. Okay, nice. Okay, let's switch back to the video.
The dependency type property. So here's a list of all the dependency types that are currently supported. We have things like chocolatey, file downloads,
so we don't know that,
and then PS gallery modules, scripts inside. Use. We have so
I just saw here like minus test. So this is interesting. This is probably what I wanted to do here. So it was probably on test. So this was probably what I was talking about. Specified name parameters. One or more parameters cannot be. Do you need to specify the path as well? Let's do like this. Loading this in memory. Cannot validate argument pattern path. Maybe no, it was a switch. Test was a switch, so makes no sense. So invoke PsDepend. Can validate argument and parameter path. The test path parameter path. Huh. Okay, it's there. And so why is test not working? Invoke PsDepend. So basic. So okay, so he's pointing to a folder here. So slash basic is a folder. He's not pointing to the specific file. So that's maybe the problem. So path. Okay, there you have it. So I'm not sure what this means. So would it mean, does it mean like it's there? So if I add PsHTML and I say, like over here, I say latest. Do I have to, let's check, do I have PsHTML installed? So get module list available PsHTML. I don't have it. Nice. So it should say that PsHTML is not present in some way or another. So let's call the dependencies. Okay, so basically the test is not how I thought tests would work, because maybe it's just testing the file actually to see if there are any problems with it, probably. So yeah, let's Adam talk a little bit.
A very basic resource kind of looks like this. So this is kind of like the most basic resource that you could create. In this case, I'm specifying 3 PowerShell modules. We have Pester, Selenium, and PsDepend, and I want them all on the latest version. The most basic thing we can do is actually just test to see if those exist. So I have the Selenium and the PsDepend module installed, but I don't have the latest Pester v5 module installed.
So it is there, but it's hidden. We see like he's doing like a select object dependency star. So basically like the PS types of this module, yeah, they don't show like maybe the properties that actually matter. At least that mattered like to me in this specific case. Because I was interested in seeing, you know, which modules are present and which ones are not. And so we can do like select dependency name, and what is it? Dependency exists. Dependency exists, and let's add the version. So let's let it roll, see what it's doing. So they come back and we see, so rambling cookie monster, that should be, that's not true actually. So PSHTML, we agree, we've checked it, but the dependency of Pester, that one we installed at the very first row, but the rambling cookie monster PowerShell thing, that one is right here. So maybe it's doing, because it's doing PowerShell. C program files, PowerShell modules, PowerShell. That's a lot of PowerShells. Lot of PowerShell. So yeah, and it's maybe a bug. I don't know. Let's continue.
So that one's going to return false. So we can actually go and check and see which of those modules are actually installed. If you want to get a little more specific with requirements, what you can actually do is you can define what type of dependency these particular items are by using the syntax that you see here. So I have a PS Gallery module, I want to install the universal module, and I have a GitHub repository where I want to install the universal templates. So to invoke that, all I have to do is, in this case, I can move over to this folder and call invoke PsDepend and just say all on that. And what it's going to do is it's going to download the module from the PowerShell gallery, and then it's going to clone the Git repo. And what I've done is I've actually specified some PsDepend options. So you can kind of think of these as global options to each one of the dependencies. So this actually sets the target parameter for each one of my dependencies, and I want to store it inside the dependencies folder here. And I want to pretty much call force on each one of the dependencies. So now that that's run.
So like before I asked the question, so my rhetorical question, because I'm alone in this, in my basement by the way, you know, where does this $dependency folder variable comes from? So now we can deduct actually that it comes from, that it actually is the folder where this PSD1 file is actually located. So kind of like PS script root. Kind of, but it would be PS dependency script root kind of. And so we can see /dependencies right here. So, and that's where he installed them. And actually, I have to say, I really like this syntax, PS Gallery module. So with the double point. It's actually a very good way to see directly, you know, which type you are allowed to add. I'm a bit doubting about the IntelliSense. I'm not sure it will be easy to discover actually the types you can add via ISE or via Visual Studio Code. But yeah.
What you'll see is that I actually have the universal module in here. That was saved via save module, and then I have a cloned version of the universal templates GitHub repository. So that's kind of like a more specific way of defining dependencies for PsDepend.
So I want to try this. I actually really like this. I just want to try this syntax here. So this is something I really like. So let's do that. Let's do that. So we had the first one, and so we want to have specific downloads dot depend dot psd1. That's what we want to do. So we added hash table, and inside this hash table we said we want to have, so let's take this example of the PsHTML repository that we wanted from. Okay, so this is what we want. It's from the PowerShell gallery. So according to the video, which I have it now on my other screen, so I can peek on it. But so it is PS gallery module, and then then the name, so PsHTML, and then equal latest. So now we can remove this, and so this one is pretty cool. So GitHub. So what do we want to download? Let's go and download something from GitHub. Let's download the WF tools again, right? So because it's right here. So you give like the GitHub username / repository name, and then equal, and you give it like the branch name in case you want another branch, specific branch. I really like the format. It's smart. It's very smart what they did there. It's really nice. So, and actually I want to download this also in a specific folder. So PsDepend options is equal to at, so this is hash table inside of a hash table, so it's hash tape inspection target we want it over here, and so we said, so yeah, let's try it. So let's try the dependency folder. Let's see. So I've not set it. I've simply assumed, based on my calculations, that it would be simply like the current folder of the dependency file, right? So assume it's that, and so let's put that in a folder called plop, because why not, right? So we know it by now. So it is called invoke PsDepend. No, I don't want to invoke it. I want to test it, right? And so how did we write the test here? The test was, okay, we specify the path. Aha. So this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Why? Because, or maybe it's gonna work, but maybe not as we expect, because we need to specify a folder, and it looks like we can only have one PSD1 file as a thing. But let's test it anyways. Aha, okay, nice. So he actually did them all. It would have been nice to have like have the you know, the path of the file, the source format list star. Let's do it like this. Let's do it again just to see if you specify also from which file this is coming. So yes, we can actually see it, dependency file. This is these objects are very smart actually. So target dependency plop, PsDepend option target. It's a smart module. I actually like it. I really like it. So we wanted to test it, and so now we don't want to test it anymore. Let's go ahead and simply install it, force, and maybe just add a verbose, you know, just so we can see something happening, right? So I'm pressing F8, calling all of this, and so verbose is quite verbose. So he's copying it. Aha. I see what he did there. I see what he did. So what happened is that he actually called my very first. So he did it twice actually. Yeah, the test should have, you know, kind of ring a bell. Yeah, it's too bad. I cannot say. I cannot point it like to only this file. Why would that not be possible? Because that's what I tried at the very beginning. It kept failing, but maybe it's because of my amazing skills in naming files that it didn't work. So let's try it again. Yeah. So this actually works like this. Nice. And actually, I didn't want to do it like this, so I reinstalled them now. So we also see like it can overwrite without a problem. I actually just wanted to throw the test. So PsHTML Ramen Cookie Monster, and so we wanted to see. Select what was it? Depend. Let's do it like this. I think Adam did depend star. So dependency exists. Voilà, that's what we wanted to see. And so again, like he's saying, it's not here, but it is here. So clear there's a bug. I'm gonna add a small comment so I can open an issue. Open an issue on PsDepend regarding dependency mentioned as not present, although it is there. Nom de Dieu. So let's go back to the video. So the format actually works nice. We could also specify, you know, where it should put, but like, look, okay, I didn't see this. It has like a dollar, you know, so why did it add the dollar? Because I had it like in the thing here. So if I remove it, so but Adam has it, right? Adam has dollar dependency. Not sure if you can see it. He has dollar dependency folder. Dependencies. So just write one more time like this. I'm just gonna remove this, delete, move recycle bin, and call this one actually I want to actually really download them, so let's do it. Invoke PsDepend to yes to all. dependency folder. Seriously. That's why. Dependency folder. Yeah, in German I would say I have Legasthenie, which means no, I don't say it in English. You can Google it. So dependency folder. Dependency folder. That looks correct, right? Let's do it again. Yeah, by now I start to realize this video is quite long. So he's downloading it again. Yeah. So this time it actually worked as expected. Of course, so if you don't have the super skills that I have in wrongly naming the 1,000 folders you use as variables, then everything will simply work fine, right? I'm simply very good in screwing name of variables up. I'm very good at that apparently today. So yeah, anyways, didn't use that variable correctly. So I'm gonna remove this one, and so now let's see again, just a last one for the test. Yeah, and it says again like it's not there. So it was not due to my mistyping or whatever. It really seems that like this one is a bug. So yeah, we're gonna file this one. So yeah, let's go back to the video. And I try to let Adam speak a little bit longer than 20 seconds. I try.
In addition to just kind of listing dependencies like this, what we can actually do is have them run in order. So here's an example of 3 different tasks, and each one of these two of them depend on the previous task to run. So I have task 1, 2, and 3. You can see I have them kind of out of order to prove that I can run them in order by using the depends on property. So depends on pretty much allows you to define that the previous or this step requires this step to complete before it will actually execute. So task 1 doesn't have any dependencies. Task 2 depends on task 1, and then task 3 depends on task 2. So there are some interesting things to note in this file besides just the depends on. The other thing is that notice here that I'm using the pwd variable here. One interesting thing to note about PsDepend is that they will kind of expand the couple special variables for you. As you may notice, this string is not an expandable string. So if I were to actually take this string and put it in here, you'd see it would just print out pwd and not expand it to an actual location. But what PsDepend will do is it will say like pwd is the current folder that I am in. So if I actually go over to this depends folder and then invoke PsDepend, it's actually going to expand that and find those scripts in this folder for me. So just one thing to note when using PsDepend. So if you do, because one of the reasons that they have to do it this way is that PowerShell data files, these PSD1 files, do not allow you to use things like PSScript in them. So that's why they have to expand pwd in this way. So just note that you should not use double quotes if you're trying to use a pwd variable. You should use single quotes. So okay. I am going to run
Noted. Thank you, Adam.
this, and we're going to allow that. And now you can see that we went script 3, 2, 1. Because task 1 ran script 3, task 2 ran script 2, and then task 3 ran script 1. So we went down the list there, and it ran the dependencies in order. If you want to get a little more flexible in, I'm actually going to delete this folder so that I can prove this. If you want to get a little more flexible in the way that you define dependencies, you can actually use kind of an extended syntax. So I showed this a little bit, but it gets a little more, I guess, extensible. There are a lot more properties that you can actually set into your hash tables for each one of your dependencies. So you saw some things that I set in previous examples, such as the depends on, the target, the dependency type, that kind of thing. But in this case, you can specify things like the name of the dependency, parameters to the actual dependency type script that's running. In this case, it's going to be the install module, commandlet, and then things like version and tags. And if you look at invoke PsDepend, you're going to see things like the tags. So you could specify dependencies for just a particular prod or test environment, that kind of thing. And if you actually use get dependency, you'll see things like version. So if we were to come over to flexible and do get dependency, you'll see that this dependency's version is 5.5, and that's actually coming from the hash table right here. Additionally, you can see the tags. So
I didn't get it. Would that be the version of the module, or would that be the version of the dependency file?
In this example, I have some options that I'm setting. Each one of these is going to store into the dependencies folder. I'm adding the force parameter to everything. I'm going to install the find open file module. Then I'm going to install the PowerShell Pro Tools module. I'm going to do things like skip the publisher check, make sure the repository is set to the PS gallery. If you had a custom repository, you could set it there. And then I'm actually going to run a script. So if we were to call invoke PsDepend on this and force, I think I have to call install to make sure that open PS script pad runs. And you'll see that I had this module installed, find open files was installed, and then it actually opened PS script pad, which is what this open script did. So there's kind of like a bunch of different ways that you can configure your pretty much requirements files, and it's pretty flexible. I think it's very similar to kind of some things that you may see with DSC, but I think this is a little more simple than that. And it all runs as just a basic PowerShell module, and it's a great way to kind of set up a build environment or a new project or something like that. Someone could just run invoke PsDepend, and it would install things like Pester and Selenium, invoke build, things like that, whatever you might need for your development environment, or your PowerShell module build, that kind of thing. So in this video, we actually looked at the module PsDepend and saw how that we can install different dependencies. We can schedule different dependencies based on other dependencies, and we can use some flexible options to define lots of parameters around the dependencies that are being installed. So if you like videos like this, definitely subscribe to my channel, because I'll be releasing a new Module Monday every Monday. Thanks.
Yeah, so if you guys have not watched the video, so please go and click the like button on Adam's video. It's really cool what he's doing here. Also subscribe. Apparently I'm not. Oh yeah, it's because I'm using another profile. So regarding the version, I had this question about the version 5.5. What is it? Is it like the version of the file, or is it the version of the module? Quickly looked it up, and so PowerShell Pro Tools is currently in version 5.5.0, which is actually, the version over here. So the version is really like the version of your PowerShell module, or whatever you're downloading. So that answers my own question. I just want to have a look. I'm not sure I'm going to do it though, but I wanna have a look at the more advanced thing, because he flew through it, and so he tries to keep his video short so we can actually learn like a lot in small amount of time. But in it's maybe a little bit difficult to grasp like all the nitty details, and as you can see, when you test things out directly, like you have maybe some file naming issues and things that don't work like directly. So I wanted to see like a little bit like the advanced options we could have. So find open file, latest. So yeah, that one I'm not so sure.
Dependencies folder. I'm adding the force parameter to everything. I'm going to install the find open file module. Then I'm going to install.
Okay, find open file module. That's apparently it's another module. So find module, find open file. It is. There is a module called find open file module. I didn't know that. Ah, of course, it's one of Adam's own modules. So Adam Discrow. And what is it? Yeah, it finds open files with no PowerShell. Yeah, why not? Okay, interesting. So yeah, that's why I thought this was like maybe a specific option.
The PowerShell Pro Tools module. I'm going to do things like skip the publisher check, make sure the repository is set to the PS gallery. If you got a custom repository, you could set it there. And then I'm actually going to run a script. So
yeah, so it's interesting because afterwards at the very end, so open script pad, he's simply using the task dependency type to actually run a script. So like I was saying at the very beginning, long time back, you can go and have a look at the tasks. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. It means really a lot to me. Don't forget to look at in the description below. We're gonna have links to PS Monday, Module Monday, sorry, links from Adam Discrow, PS Rambling Cookie Monster, links to a GitHub repository for the PsDepend PowerShell module. Also, I want to mention I will start to stream every Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesdays will be in French, Thursdays will be in English at 21 o'clock, so 9 o'clock French time, so UTC +1, so do the math. Thank you again so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.